Hey all, it's your girl Fee, bringing you authentic conversation to feed your soul and make you whole. Welcome to a little of this and a little of that. So what is this all about? It's about real talk, real stories, and real growth. It creates an open space for honest conversations. Wherever you're tuning in from, thank you.
Hey all, it's your girl Fee, bringing you authentic conversation to feed your soul and make you whole. Welcome to another episode of A Likkle This and A Likkle That. I'm so excited that you've been tuning in with me, with us. It's been so amazing. Thank you so much. From the day we've launched, it's been going amazing. Again, this has been a space where I want to have authentic conversation around relationship, confidence, lifestyle, basically just the ups and downs of life that we can all relate to. So this is what you're tuning into today. So thank you again for coming in with me. Again, if you're not yet sharing and following us, whether it's on Spotify or Apple or YouTube, please do and share. Today, I'm super excited to talk about money because it's not one of my strengths. And on today's episode, I have my amazing guest, Carolyn. Is it Carolyn? My amazing guest, Carolyn, who's going to talk. She's the money budgeting queen. And so I always want to have people on here who are living it, who are relatable, and who are going to give you some authentic feedback and tips on how we can do better on whatever we're talking about. So again, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So guys, it's amazing. And so as I mentioned, I'm going to let my guest, Carolyn, introduce herself, and we are going to get right into the money conversation. So Carolyn, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So I am, I guess, a finance expert. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, working as a manager in finance in the healthcare industry. But it was around 2020 when I decided that, there's something more. I need to be able to take my knowledge and give back to the community. And so I decided to start the Financial Moment. And that is my coaching business. I have courses and I coach one-on-one. I just help people to really understand the basics, because a lot of people, we kind of go through life. We never were taught it in school. And so it's important to have that fundamental knowledge of how to manage your finances and then really push forward to get towards your goals. And so that is kind of my mandate and my mission.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And this is why I want your wisdom on this, because it's one thing to listen to celebrities. They have the money, they've been there, they've done that, okay? But it's another thing to listen to another day-to-day person like yourself who understands it, is doing it, and can really give us, we call it measurable steps to take. Because Carolyn, from my experience, I realized that finances and money is more than dollar and cents. It's affect every part of our life, especially our relationships. So give me a little bit more in terms of what I just spoke about, in terms of how it affects your relationship, whether it's poor money management, the misunderstanding of it, the misconception. Just a little bit before we get deeper into the conversation, how can money really affect your relationship?
Yeah, actually, it probably goes back to our childhood, to be honest with you. How your parents raised you, how they treated money kind of trickles down into how we kind of operate ourselves moving forward. And it was like I was saying, that we're not taught these things in school. And so we kind of develop and form from the experiences that we've had with our families, with our friends, how we kind of communicated and grew through life. And then we end up married and have kids and, relationship. And all of a sudden now we have to manage a household and all these things. And so we take those bad habits, some good, some bad. We take those and we kind of put them into our relationships, and they can have sometimes a damaging effect if we don't kind of watch how it is that we are progressing forward. So there are some ways that we can identify some of our mindsets, the way we think about money, that can and try to change that mindset shift towards what it is that you're trying to reach and strive for.
I'm glad you said that, because I just find that sometimes I'm looking for people who can identify with me. I'm looking for community in the sense that what I'm experiencing and feeling, it feels like I'm the only one going through it. And when you talk to people, they're like, oh, I'm great. And if you talk to the church folks, they're like, oh, I'm blessed. And I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? Something wrong with me? But then you realize it's the shame. It's the living and keeping up with the Jones. So you can't really say that you're struggling because how would others see you? You might be a person who carry yourself well and people think that you should have it or you look like you have it all together. So when you look, you realize that people are not speaking the truth. And when you don't speak the truth, you're closing the doors for real, authentic relationship and for building community. Because if I know that Carolyn is struggling as I am building authentic relationship. I'm creating a community. Now we can learn and grow together. Okay. So what are ways, Carolyn, that we can get more authentic and not be ashamed to say, I haven't been able to manage my money well. I am struggling. I'm living paycheck by paycheck. I live in a certain community and my neighbor, my friends are rich and I'm trying to keep up with them and I can't manage. What are some things in terms of our budgeting and our common sense practice that we should be thinking about and putting into place to not fall into that trap?
Yeah, it's a good question because money seems to be something that we are ashamed of. And so, it's funny, I kind of relate it to the weight industry. Back in the day, people wanted to lose weight and it was kind of like you go off to your little class and, you're trying to do your thing in quiet. And then people were like, oh, look at you look great. Yeah. Right. And then, but now the weight industry is like all over. It's all over social media. People are working together. There's community, but money has never had that evolution. Right. And so it's still in the quiet. People still don't want to talk about how they're experiencing things because they think that they, like you said, are the only ones and they feel shameful. Yes. And so how do we break that? I think one of the ways is to really find someone that you trust. Start with one person. Find someone that you trust that maybe you think in your mind is a little bit ahead in the situation. And then just ask them probing questions. How did you manage when you had toddlers running around? How did you manage when you wanted to put them into sports or you wanted to go on a vacation? How did you manage and plan for that? And I can almost guarantee that person will give you solid advice and they will tell you exactly because people want to share.
But what if they don't know?
If they don't want to know, then again, kind of expand your circle. Don't maybe just stick to the people that you kind of are comfortable with. Yes. Expand your circle, but you don't need to ask personal questions by, what kind of money status they're at, but just the road and the path that they took. And 100% they'll be willing to share that with you.
Well, that would be good if people are, because that's what we can't find. And I like that you said widen our circle, because if you are if people who are around you don't have you on your tippy toes and make you more aware and want you to be more conscious of your decisions, then you're right. We need to reassess those circles. We need to reassess what they can contribute to our lives. And also, if they can't, then find professional help like yourself.
Absolutely.
So somebody can call you up and you help them with their budgeting.
Yeah, exactly. Like I kind of walk people through where they are in the past, where they are now, and then where do they want to be. And so, because we have to learn from the past or else we're just going to repeat it. So we learn from the past, what have we done? And then we kind of move forward. And you were asking me about, tips and ways on how to actually come up with that type of plan. One exercise that I always share with my clients is to take an assessment of where you are. So what that means is actually print out your bank statement. Print it out. It may be 4 or 5 pages, but actually see what is going on in your bank account.
Nobody want to do that, eh? Then you look like, oh, McDonald's, oh, Zara, oh.
Exactly. It was funny because I've done this a little conference before, and I asked people, how much do you think you spend on Starbucks? Yes. And people, they're shouting out different numbers. So I said, okay, let's go to the bank statement and actually add it up. almost everyone was under by at least 20%.
Wow.
Yeah, because your perception of what you
Yes,
spend.
because it's just $5. It's just $3.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so you really need to know your numbers. So you need to know where you are so that you can change, make a correction, and then move forward.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So Carolyn, I'm just feeling so good with this conversation right now because as it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And when we talk about relationship, when we talk about confidence, all of these components help us be confident. You can't be confident and broke. You get what I'm saying? Because when you're broke, you're no longer confident. You don't know how you're going to take care of your family. You don't know how you're going to get to work the next week. So all of this is related to what we're talking about. And so I want to get back into money and relationship. I know as a Caribbean person that I've sent way too much money back home. Way too much. You've been taken advantage of. It's been wasted. There's no plan. But as immigrants, one of the things we do, and I see it with Filipinos, different cultures, so it's not just Caribbean, we feel an obligation to be supporting and helping our family. But I find that there hasn't been enough boundaries, discipline, or any strategy. We're just sending because we're asked. What tips and budgeting strategy can we help people to do to still show love, still show you care, but also know when to say no and be okay with it? Because it was Viola Davis or something, I think it was Viola Davis that says, make it your job in life to disappoint as many people that you can so you don't disappoint yourself. So share with us.
Yeah, for sure. I think that by nature, we want to help. And that is how we feel. And I think it's just like someone asks us something and we just want to give. It's just a natural kind of way. But the better way is to plan through it. So, for example, it's a perfect time of year. We're in the beginning of the year, and it's a great time to actually plan. So what I mean by that is you're going to set up what we call a budget. Now, that word always kind of gives people like the cringe. But
you don't have a budget.
You know, but the resistance, try and push past that resistance and think of it more as a strategic plan. If you're at work, the companies come up with all these strategic plans that you kind of execute. And so think of that as your own personal strategic plan. So what I mean by that is there's going to be holidays throughout the year, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever it is that you celebrate, or birthdays. So maybe you're going to set aside some money at that time to then send back to your family,
right? Yes.
Right? And so you know that in 3 months, I'm going to have this amount of money ready to be able to send.
Yes.
So can I actually afford to do so?
That's right.
Again, we're going back to our actual plan and saying, okay, I have to allocate, $50 a month or whatever it is, so that at that point you're ready and it's not going to come from your daily income all at once.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is a kind of a really important key point, is to plan through it. Plan for whatever you're going to be spending that extra money.
And so even if you're planning for it and the plan fall through.
Yeah, happens.
What should someone do?
So first, even before that, is you need to set up an emergency fund. This is why plans don't follow through. It's because people don't have an emergency fund. So car breaks down, something goes wrong with your house, your kids need something, and you're just taking from the money that perhaps you were saving for to send back. And so what you need to do is create this emergency fund that you can draw from when things occur. And so if you have that in place, then your plans will, I'm not going to say, plan, life is life, right?
Yes.
It's going to happen. But at least you're going to have some kind of positioning in place when things like this go wrong or something happens. So an emergency savings fund is very important. And, the trend is to say that, you need about 3 months of your income, which is a lot of money. And people are like, it's too much, I can't do that. Yeah. Well, then just start small. Have small incremental goals, like, for example, $1,000. Let's just work towards having $1,000 sitting in a bank account, again, separated from your daily spend, that you can draw on if something were to occur. And that will help you to kind of navigate through the things that come up in life.
I like that. And I want to remind you guys, I love quotes. I'm always talking about quotes. And I think it was Maya Angelou that says, when people show you who they are, believe them the first time. Something of that nature. Because I remember sometimes when you don't have to give, somebody might no longer like you.
Yeah.
You might lose a family or a friend who used to think, well, you change. But no, you're not changed. You've just set some boundaries and you start to do a budget and you start to discipline yourself and put some priorities in place. And as a result, you no longer can probably maintain those given at the speed that you used to give.
That's right.
So I want us to not be guilty because a lot of times as we talk about these authentic way of living, guilt is eating us up.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness, I feel guilty. It's my mom, it's my dad, it's my aunt, or it's the person who took care of me, or it's the person who helped me last week.
That's right.
Right. So there's a guilt of obligation, but I don't think anybody who loves us would want us to feel that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that by us even just wanting to give, and, there is a boundary and a limit that you have to set for yourself. And even expressing that to that person, the individual, you could say that, by the way, we are trying to do X, Y, and Z. And so therefore our gift will be this.
Yes.
And, they will have a little bit more understanding if you just, instead of just cutting off what they probably are used to, just explain the situation, kind of give them some background of what, you're going through as well. I think sometimes people that have family that's back home and you're here in this country, they think you have the better life.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is a misdemeanor.
No. No. Listen, I can go next door and get some food from a family. I can go without the light and just light a lamp. Most of us, so we own our home. There's no mortgage.
Exactly.
I know we're here, and sometimes you have to come to experience and know.
Yeah.
But please, there's no better place. There's no more difficult place than being abroad.
Being abroad, away from your family, with all the, the different boundaries and restrictions that they have here and the obligations. It's a tough life. So I think them understanding that, by explaining, kind of, trying to get them to understand is important.
All right. So again, guys, this conversation is, I'm loving it because money is everything. I know in the Christian community, there's a misread of the scripture that says money is the root of all evil. The Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. But even in the Bible, it says money answereth all things. Because even if we're a giver, if you don't have to can help people in need, you can't do anything. So money solves problem. It can solve problem. It solves many of our problems. You get what I'm saying? But it's understanding the priorities, the misplaced understanding and priorities of money is what I want to talk. I want you to talk to us about, Carolyn, because there's cultural and societal issues around that. One of them that I know from me, I don't know what it is, if it's cultural or not, or where it comes from. But Carolyn, I struggle as a businesswoman. Here's why I struggle. I believe, what's the best way for me to put this? In a business, I'm a service person. I just want to do. I'm not good at talking about what you should pay me or how much you should pay me, or even if you don't have it, I'm like, don't worry. But that's not me being responsible or taking responsibility for my business. Because my business have always been my ministry. Whether I was running a daycare, when I was running a salon, whatever I'm doing, it's been my ministry. Because I love people. I love to uplift. I want to make a difference. I want to be impactful. So no matter what I do, but I find that I have not been able to properly take responsibility for my business, knowing that when you get paid, you can give back more. You get what I mean? When you're not afraid to charge for what your service is, and also remind payments were outstanding to be brought in. You get what I'm saying? But I shy away from that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good thing. And that's something that I'm working on. So what are some things, and again, as you said earlier in the conversation, sometimes these things are from childhood. What you're taught, even in the unconscious.
Absolutely.
So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I would say that, a lot of us fall into two buckets, and probably for our community, we fall into the second. The two are the abundance mindset and the scarcity mindset. And the scarcity mindset is one that is kind of, I think, navigates through our community. And it's because, like the sayings you were saying, oh, money doesn't grow on trees. It's the root of all evil. All these things are built in our brains to say that money is a bad thing. and the attaining of money is a bad thing.
Yes.
And so we have to rewire our brain, because in order to give back, in order to be that service person,
Yes.
you need to be able to generate funds, generate
Yes.
revenue.
Yes.
And I'll just give you the example of your business, is that when you set up a business, you're there to make money. That is the purpose of the
That's
business,
right.
unless you're doing a non-for-profit or something, right?
That's right.
Right. And so, but in order to also satisfy that giving component, then set aside, maybe, I don't know, if you see like a few clients pro bono, or you're going to do something that, and those are, you keep that to a limit.
Yes.
And then the rest of your clients are paying clients. These are the things where you can still feel that you're giving back to the community at the same time as feeding your business.
Yes.
So it's just about limitations. It's about setting priorities and limitations. And again, you kind of navigate through that as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
for sure.
Limitation is good. Limitation is. I have a husband who tell her, baby. I'm like, okay. So you have to have that balance. And I think that is so true. Is having, and if you don't have a business partner and it's just you're just like giving. Right. And that's not common sense nor wisdom. So what are some other societal and cultural myth or what you want to say norm that we should be conscious of when it comes to money and budgeting?
Yeah, so I'll go back to that scarcity mindset, kind of coming over that mindset, learning to give. Those things are going to change the way we think about money. And then we need to pay it forward, right? Because yes, we're trying to change ourselves, but it's the next generation that we have to be concerned about as well.
Yes.
We don't want to pass on any of our bad habits to the next generation. Yes. So for example, if you were to give, a gift to a nephew or a niece or whomever for Christmas or birthday or whatever, don't just give the gift.
Yes.
Kind of show them how to actually use that money well.
That's a big deal.
I heard a story one time where an individual, the grandmother would give them a gift. And they said, if you return that gift to me, I will double it and put it towards your college education. And I thought, what a great way of thinking about, number one, giving back.
Yes.
Number two, actually thinking about investing
yes.
right?
Yes.
At a very young age.
Yes.
And then also thinking about the future and your plans for the future and how much more that money is going to do for you at that time. Now, it's hard for a child to take their birthday money and give it back. It's like, what? Exactly. But at the same time, right, you can do this in a much smaller method. Give 10%, give, whatever it is. Yes. So I think that's a good way to kind of just show children that there's more to your money than just spending, right? On the newest shoes, the
it's
newest.
Like a hole in our head.
Exactly. And they don't understand. They think that a bank machine is just a machine where the money just keeps coming out, right?
I know.
So you kind of have to get them to understand that, life costs money, things cost money, what the cost of things are, and so that they have an appreciation for that as they get older.
So Carolyn, on a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it's about, I just want to keep it real, just really 100% real. And some of the things we touch on are going to be offensive because the person who thinks it's okay going to be offended by us not thinking it's okay. But for me, that's what life is. We don't need to agree.
That's right. You
don't have to agree with me. But this is my pet peeve. We're talking about money. And I think this is common to all communities in every culture. But let me pick on my community for a minute, where our kids can wear Jordans that cost hundreds of dollars. We can try to buy the Coach purse and the material things. We even buying the wigs that are thousands of dollars for a wig now these days because it's in. But I find that people are going on GoFundMe to bury their children, to bury their family, and say it's a cry, or say it's an emergency. Yes, it's an emergency. Every death is surprising. Right. Talk to me about that, because that really bothers me. That we have not been able to prioritize budget, and say we don't know that budget word, okay? Yes. Because I can put my hands and feet up. I don't budget. I'm not good at it, okay? Not because I'm doing a good job, but I need to do better. And that's my accountability piece to start doing better with it. So I do know that it's hard. But Carolyn, it's really hard for me to digest because, again, as a Christian, as a person of faith, sometimes the Bible can be taken out of context. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and everything will be added unto you. Take no thought of tomorrow, let tomorrow take care of itself. It doesn't mean I squander everything today and say whatever happened tomorrow. It's just common sense and wisdom. So what can people do, Carolyn, to understand that life insurance is something to be put in their budget?
Yeah, I think that there are many tools that people can use, and I think people don't utilize those tools well enough. Life insurance is one of them. So I can't stress enough, start as young as possible. When you're healthy, when you're young, in your 20s, 30s, start those policies at that time because the premiums are very low. And then, you forget about it. You're putting $20, $30 away, which is nothing. And it's going to help you to plan for some of those incidents that you're referring to. When you get older, 40s, 50s, 60s, now it's...
40's not whole head.
But when you reach those levels, it's a little harder.
And they start to test you for everything.
That's right. That's what I was just gonna say. I'm like, they're gonna ask you, how your health condition is, this and that and the other. So it's a bit harder. Premiums will be higher, and you're not even going to get the best benefit from it because you haven't put in as long. So I would suggest, start these things when you're young, and you're just starting out your career, and you're not even going to think about that money. Secondly, we talk about the budget, but prioritize what is important to you. Is retirement important to you? Is traveling important to you? Seeing your family? Those things need to be put aside. And there are tools that can help you, like a TFSA or an RSP.
So what's a TFSA?
So a TFSA is a tax-free savings account. So what you do is you put money in that account, and that account can be invested into any, stocks, bonds, all sorts of things that you want to invest in. And the money that you make on those investments is tax-free. So you don't have to claim that on your income tax.
Got it.
So it's a great way, and it's better than an RSP in the sense that you can withdraw it at any time and not be penalized. I know so many people that have put into RSPs because it's going to have an impact on their tax, but then they withdraw it and they end up losing lots of money. So, you kind of be aware of what the tools are, how you can benefit from them, and then use that to kind of build and fund the goals that you want.
So that's perfect. And so guys, it's not about picking on anybody or condemning any behavior. It's about, I would not want to bury my family off just going on Facebook and say, help me. And hoping.
That's right.
I mean, that's give you anxiety. That raises your blood pressure, if you ask me. And I just think it doesn't leave me with the integrity.
That's right.
It's one thing to ask for help. I always believe in asking for help. Ask for help. But that's to supplement what you have done for yourself.
That's right.
But to come up with nothing and live for 70 or 60 something years or 50 and say you have nothing, it's something that we have to be conscious of. Because again, it bothers me, especially because I'm talking from firsthand, like what I know firsthand. The wig that they're changing every time, the Botox, all of these things that we're investing in, and that's a personal preference. Sure. Do what you got to do to look pretty and feel confident. That's you. But in the meantime, I think I would want to be able to can bury myself with pride
and dignity.
Absolutely. And I don't think GoFundMe is it. And I think it's because of lack of money management, prioritizing your money. Because I could be I think I suck at money management. But when it comes to those things, it's important.
Yeah, I think also that people think, they'll tell you that when you see a comment like that, they'll say, well, I only make so much money. How can I save more? Right? And so this really goes back to that exercise of where your money is going. And if you do find that your income is short of what you need, and this is what you need, not what you want. Yes. If your income is short, then
so not the oxtail.
So maybe you do need to reach out and kind of think about other supplemental income that's coming in. But I would first start with looking within, prioritizing. Like let's say it is self-care that's important to you. Then put in a set amount that you're going to spend within a period of time that is towards that, but you can still kind of manage your other goals as well. Right?
Yes.
So we're not telling you to take it away.
Yes.
We're just trying to tell you to balance. Balance is the key to life.
Well, guys, I think you got a wealth of knowledge and tips and wisdom from this, and we're going to wrap up. And Carolyn going to give her last final tips and thoughts. But I just want to check back in with you because on a little bit of this, on a little bit of this, there's no apology for what we share. You get what I mean? We are not here to disrespect, to insult, but just to bring authentic things to the surface that I know people are not comfortable to share, because a friend might not say, yo, what are you doing on GoFundMe begging? Because they don't want to diss you. But the truth is, even if you can't and you don't have enough, maybe start saying, hey guys, I'm available for 2 hours a day to babysit.
That's right.
I was scrolling social media for 2 hours anyway. I can babysit. I can clean a house for an extra 1 hour on a Sunday if I'm not going to church, or if I don't. You get what I'm saying? But put the effort in to prioritize those emergency. Carolyn, let me show you something. One day in about 2009 or 8 or 11, maybe even 11, because I think we're 12, I was buying our second house. And when they closed, they made a mistake. And I didn't know we have to do something called like another transfer tax or land transfer or whatever tax that we have to pay. We need to come up with, I think it was $1,200 or $1,000 or something dollars, but it's over $1,000. Carolyn, I couldn't find it. We've already maxed out our budget according to the planning, and I couldn't find it. You see, from that day, there's a white piggy bank I have in the next room over there. Since then, I bought that, Carolyn, and I don't know, I don't want to give it a title, a negative title, but it was a way of me saying I will never not find $1,000 again.
Right.
And I started to drop money into that little bank. I didn't even want it in a bank account. You're staying right here with me.
Exactly.
And I never let that happen to me again. So sometimes you have to experience certain things to say, never will this happen again. And I have 2 children. That's right. I can't use credit card as an emergency fund.
That's it.
The bank can take it back anytime. You know what I mean? That's borrowed money. I need to have some kind of resource. And guys, I'm not saying this is easy. Trust me. I've been in Canada for over 20. My son is 24. I've been in Canada for over 25 years. And it's still hard. It's still paycheck to paycheck most of the times. Trust me. But the point I'm saying is, it is still possible with intentionality. Absolutely. So leave the people with some tips and resources that they can follow to manage your money, to budget, and just to have this holistic, healthy life where they can feel at peace.
Right. Well, first of all, I would highly recommend boosting your financial literacy. So that means, listen to the podcasts, read the books, go to the seminars. There's so much information. We are so lucky in this time period to have all this information available to us. And so if you can just, take out a few things every week that you can then implement into your life, you're going to be ahead just by, seeking out that information. I have a podcast. The name of it is called Elevate Your Paycheck. And so, you can find it on any channel. And I just talk about, different topics, how to actually budget, how to create an emergency savings fund, how to plan, do those types of things. So, again, free information. The next thing I would say is take action, because it's good to hear and listen and learn, but then you need to take action and you actually have to change. And so where you find the areas that need improvement, just take baby steps to improve and change and work on those particular aspects. And then the final thing is to seek out help or mentorship, right? So remember we talked about, just going out, reaching out to your circle, your outer circle. And if you can't find someone that you think you can trust, then reach out to a money coach. I also have a guide. You'll find it on thefinancialmoment.com /budget tips. So if you want to download the guide, I think, you'll put it in your show notes as well. And just download the guide. It has everything laid out for you that you can actually create a budget and stick with it. Because it's the one thing to create. Another thing to stick with it. Exactly.
That's where the money is.
That's it.
Well, Carolyn, thank you so much. It's been amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for your experience that you share. Guys, tell us which one is working for you. Tell us which one hit home for you. And this is not about being cute. So if it really hurts and have you offended, share with us as well. We want to hear every part of how this, what this elicit from you as you listen to us. And remember, whatever we do on a Likkle this and a Likkle that is with grace and love. And grace and love don't always feel mushy, but it's with grace and love. And we really want to hear how this podcast and these conversations are impacting your life. And so just like that, another episode of Likkle this and a Likkle that is a wrap. And remember, if you can't be authentic, you're not being you.